health a little bit on the delicate side right at the moment. Did you have a really good summer? Then all of a sudden, now that it's September and autumn is coming along, you're starting to feel a little bit under the weather. You might have more headaches, you might have a runny nose, itchy eyes, you might be itchier than normal with your skin condition, and there's a good reason why. More than often, we think of allergy season during the springtime, but in actual fact, autumn can host a whole load of allergies as well. Weeds, in fact, pollinate during the autumn months, as do molds, which molds can actually come from the leaves falling off the trees and basically composting on the ground. Autumn pollen season can start mid-September right up until the first frost in November. So we do have a good 10 to 12 weeks whereby we have a proper allergy season. Recently, I've been wondering about why is it I wake up every morning with a little bit of a tickle in my nose, and it's down to these weed pollens and down to these mold spores that are starting up at this time of year. I see a lot on the skin communities out there. A lot of people are finding it rather strange why all of a sudden they're becoming a lot more irritated, a lot itchier, a lot more susceptible to breathing problems or headaches and itchy eyes, and it's really down to the fact that it's this autumn allergy season. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Layla, and this channel is dedicated to all of those of you with eczema, TSW, psoriasis, any skin conditions, allergies, asthma, you name it, it's all here. But before we get down into the nitty-gritty of this allergy topic, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and support my channel. Give me a big thumbs up if you enjoy this video and get some value out of it, and let me know down below in the comments if you're suffering from any allergies at this time of year. So unlike the spring allergies we have, whereby we have tree pollens, flower pollens, etc., in the autumn we have weed pollens. So that's the weeds that we find in our grass, and at the same time the weeds that kind of situate around a lot of our flower beds, causing almost like a mold spawn at the same time. Ragweed is the #1 pollinating weed that we have at this time of year, and it's literally all over North America and most of Europe. Unlike spring pollens, where we're left with a coating of yellow on our outdoor table and decking area, ragweed, actually you cannot see the pollen. It's pretty much invisible, or it's a very, very, very light dusting of grey, and it almost looks similar to sort of anything that might be dirty, to be honest. But ragweed actually really stays in the air for much, much longer. It's less susceptible to high winds and movement. At the same time, it can pass up into our nasal passages very, very easily, giving us those banging headaches that we can have mid-afternoon. Ragweed can also really affect our respiratory system. It can actually clog up inside our throats, causing the itchiness and coughing as well. Experts have shown that ragweed can actually travel 1 billion pollens of grain in one season, and these can travel up to 370 miles out to sea. Other flowering weeds can include dockweed, ragweed, mugwort, nettles, sorrels, and plantains. Over the summer months, I do tend to come off my diet because it's no longer allergy season, and as I am a high histamine intolerant person, alongside my eczema and my TSW recovery, I have found that having a low histamine diet during allergy seasons is really the best way for me to actually overcome a lot of my allergies. So I'm going back to my diet this month because I have been having a little bit of a runny nose, a little bit itchy in the morning. So for me, those are very early warning signs to being quite sensitive to the allergy season and to those weed pollens. So I've been going back to my diet very, very slowly and surely. Not extreme measures, but I am definitely cutting back a lot of the histamine foods that I have been having over the summer, such as bananas and avocados. So if you have been flaring lately with your skin after you've been having, a pretty stable summer so far, then by all means consider a low histamine diet just to overcome that itchiness just for the few weeks of the allergy season, the autumn allergy season, just so that you don't have to be getting more acute or having to reverse any of that hard work that you've done so far with your healing. Another very effective way to lower that histamine level so that you can reduce your itch and overcome your allergies is to take Absorbate sodium vitamin C powder form and take it regularly throughout the day. I take a little serving, which is a 1/4 teaspoon, about 4 to 6 times a day, so it really helps relieve any of those allergy symptoms and that itchiness. You can find the Absorbate sodium vitamin C on Amazon, and I'll put it down in the link below for you guys. Another common allergen this time of year is mold and mold spores, and we have exterior mold spores that we find in the garden amongst our decomposed leaves that have fallen off the trees during the autumn months, and then also parts of our garden which literally just don't get any sunlight, whereby we've maybe been composting on our vegetable patches or so forth, and that can start to actually build up a number of mold spores that can cause tremendous allergies. In fact, look out for a lot of damp areas in your garden, or whether you're in the park or out and about. Those areas of dampness can really collate a lot of mold spores. So if you live in an area whereby it's particularly damp and there's not much direct sunlight, then do consider the fact that maybe your allergies are attributed to a lot of the exterior mold that you're exposing yourself to. This really rings true to me because we did quite a lot of gardening during the springtime, and we have a trailer, and we just literally dumped all our cuttings on that trailer, and it sat there all summer long because my van broke down, so I couldn't take the trailer to the garden dump. So it sat there all summer long, and it literally just left about a week ago, and in that week I can already tell a change in my health, because I think that whole trailer full of cuttings and grass and what have you, vegetation, was literally composting in the sunshine. And then also it was just very, very damp at the very bottom because there wasn't any sunlight coming in, and that compost was definitely releasing a whole ton of different mold spores that was actually affecting not only my runny nose and allergies, but also affecting my breathing. I just want to talk about houseplants real quick, because you can also get mold and spores growing on the top of your houseplants. As you can see behind me, I'm quite a big fan of houseplants. I love the oxygen that they produce, but at the same time, I have to turn over that soil at the very top of the plant because it can actually breed a lot of mold spores as well. So just make sure with your houseplants, you're just turning over that soil. You can just do it with a spoon or a fork or anything, but just to almost cultivate the soil a little bit, turn it over so that nothing is breeding on the surface of your houseplants. At the same time, for those of you who live in more rural areas, countrysides, such as myself, I live in the French provincial countryside, try to avoid harvest time and being around that harvest time where they're cutting, they're raking, they're grouping together all of their harvest, because this can release a lot of pollens that can really aggravate you. But do not forget, we also have mold growing inside our homes as well, which may sound rather disgusting, but it is something that we just need to keep on top of, and everybody has a little bit of mold in their homes. First up, our fridge can collect a lot of mold. Now, I put my hands up and say, yes, I have had a moldy fridge, and I do need to clean it far more regularly than I dare to admit. But this mold spores can be actually really quite detrimental to our health, because often, even though there might be just a bit of mold spores, like on the rack of where you keep all your juices and your bottles and your milk, that mold can actually breed onto other open foods that are inside your refrigerator, and that could be even just something that's even half packaged, like some ham or cheese or whatever it might be that's in your fridge that's slightly open, some fruit, and that mold will attach itself to that fruit or vegetable or whatever it may be, causing more mold spores to grow, which can in turn impact on your health. So make a pact with yourself and keep your fridge regularly clean. Take everything out, give it a good clean. You can use certain essential oils alongside your cleaning products as well, just to make it smell fresh and nice, like some citron, some lemon drops, some lovely essential oils just to freshen up your fridge and to keep it mold free. Do check the seals on your refrigerator as well, because that's also another area where mold likes to breed and build up. So when it comes to household molds in your kitchen and in your bathroom, refrigerator and so forth, you can use essential oils such as cinnamon and thyme and clove, lemon and tea tree, and you can actually do a blend of these together if you want. I myself personally like clove for a lot of my household areas, such as my bathroom and my fridge, and I give it a really good spray, and it really does work. I really enjoy the clove very much. To avoid this mold growing in the first place, then you want to keep your bathrooms as well ventilated as possible. So if you're having a steamy shower, make sure that you open the window and keep the door open and you allow that airflow to pass through, so it avoids that build-up of mold in your shower and in your bathroom. At the same time, when it comes to doing your laundry, you don't want to be hanging any of your wet, damp clothing on radiators, because that can really also is a brilliant breeding ground for mold. You want to air everything out in the fresh air as much as as possible, or have it in a well ventilated room. Now, there are a lot of mold cleaning products, but I do find that these are riddled with lots and lots of quite harmful chemicals. So for me, I like to make a paste with some bicarb, some vinegar, lemon juice, and a bit of water. And you can just do 2 parts of the bicarb, 1 part of the vinegar, half part water, and squeeze of lemon, and make a nice thick paste. And you can cover that over moldy tiles or wherever it may be that's moldy in corners, or sometimes along silicone strips where you've gathered that mold, and you can just let it sit on there for a few hours and then just wipe it clean, and it just gets rid of that mold layer. If you do have moldy silicone in your bathroom, then just rip it out and put in a new strip. Next up, we've got dust mites. Now, during the autumn and very much the winter months, we are really subjected to dust mites, and this really rings true to those of us who are going through that flaky phase with their TSW and eczema. What happens is when those flakes fall off, the dust mites are completely attracted to those flakes and they cling onto those flakes. So you want to clean your bedroom after you've woken up as soon as possible so you don't get that buildup of dust mites. So it's not actually the dust mites themselves that we're allergic to, but it's their waste, which lets off a type of protein which causes us to have allergic reactions towards them. These dust mites thrive in all our comfy areas, such as our carpets, our bedding, our pillows, so we really need to keep on top of them. For those of you with respiratory problems, and especially for those of you with eczema, it's really important to use anti-allergen covers underneath your pillowcases and underneath your sheeting. At the same time, you want to keep your bedrooms as well ventilated as possible. If you can open your windows for maybe in the morning for an hour or 2, just to ventilate that room and get some fresh air into your bedroom. And don't forget your children's bedrooms. All of those stuffed animals, cuddly toys, teddy bears, they all need to be washed regularly as well. I try and wash my kids' toys at least once a month to really get rid of all that dust mites, because I find it's a lot better for my daughter when she's sleeping at night and she's less sneezy because I've kept everything clean and fresh. At the same time, you guys, I've got to mention pets. Those of you who suffer with allergies or eczema, TSW, itchy conditions, you guys have to remember that also your pets are collating those dust mites as well. So make sure you keep your pets as clean as possible too. So that is it from you guys. I really wish you a really wonderful autumn ahead. Enjoy that change of season, that fresher air, but do remember the allergies and what we've spoken about today, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye for now. Just as I was videoing outside, I found this little guy.